Welcome. Thanks for attending this CTD webinar, Innovative Strategies to Enhance Understanding and Comprehension with Assistive Technology. Do you work with students who struggle with understanding content and reading comprehension? We're pleased to welcome Karen JAnowski in this fast-paced webinar to learn about a variety of innovative and free tools which promote understanding and independence. Karen is an assistive and educational technology consultant and a former adjunct professor at Simmons College. She presents both locally and nationally about the importance of using technologies and universal design for learning. She also co-moderates the AT chat on Twitter. Please note that at the end of the webinar, we'll provide a survey.
Thank you so much, Anna Maria. It's great to be here. Can everybody, how's the audio? Is that okay?
Thank you, and I'll pass it on to Karen.
Okay, great. All right, what a fascinating topic. If you're like me, we're getting so many referrals for students who struggle with reading comprehension, and it just seems like a time to think in new ways. So I'm hoping that we will have, I'm setting up some goals for us for today. The big thing is to understand that there is a need to help promote successful reading comprehension and understanding of content. And I will give a brief overview of some recent research. I'm hoping that people will learn at least 4 new tools and strategies, but it's not enough just to learn about them. I'm also hoping to hold people accountable that you will immediately implement at least 1 new tool. And I don't know if you, up in New England, we have next week off for February vacation, so I'm hoping that people are up in this area will start implementing even tomorrow. And the other point is you already have baseline scores, baseline ideas of how your students are currently performing. So try at least one of these new ideas and see if it does, in fact, make a difference. So to start with, I want to get a sense from people of what are you currently doing? What are you currently doing to enhance reading comprehension and content understanding? So I created a Padlet. The bit.ly is right here, bit.ly/readingcomp, and today's date 2/13. So it is case sensitive, so the R and the C are uppercase. So I will show you what it will go right to a Padlet. And here what you can do is just double click anywhere on the Padlet and add your ideas about what you're currently doing. It's always good to get a sense of what currently is happening and then evaluating how effective that is. So I'm hoping people are moving on to the Padlet. I am going to link there too to see if anyone is adding any ideas, because then this is a chance to share what we're already doing and then we can build from that foundation. So I'm going to click on the link and see if anyone has taken the risk to add their thoughts. Not yet. Okay, so remember, double click anywhere. I'll show the, let me show the link one more time, bit.ly/readingcomp, and today's date 2/13. Reading is uppercase R, uppercase C. So it's all anonymous, so you can just feel free to add what you're currently doing to help bypass the challenges of students who struggle with reading comprehension. And yes, oh, somebody's already using Reading Comprehension Booster, Learning Ally, using a Pocket Mod. I think I know who's adding those ideas, Nancy. So these are, okay, Reading Pen, Leveling Text. Great, thank you for adding this. Bookshare.org. So there are a lot of different things that people are currently doing. So let's add to our repertoire. And if you have other things that are different from this, feel free to double click anywhere and add your ideas to the Padlet. I love when we share through a tool like this. People are using the PAR for our data collection, which is great. Newsella, great ideas. Rewordify, learning how to develop questions to engage students. Thanks for adding all this, and we can come back to this later as well. So a lot of ideas already. And let's keep moving on. Thank you for those of you who did contribute to our Padlet. One of the things you may have noticed is this is a possible tool because it allows students to add their own input anonymously. So just think about that for the future. In any case, I really want us thinking in new ways. I don't know about you, but do you see that worksheets are ubiquitous? So let's think in new ways about alternatives to the use of worksheets to check for understanding and reading comprehension. So let's define it. Here's a definition from the RAND Reading Study Group, and they say it's the process of simultaneously extracting and constructing meaning through interaction and involvement with written language. It's all about engaging with the text. So if we all understand that that's a common definition of reading comprehension, we can move on. So when we think about in our classroom, what are our goals? So when we think about universal design for learning, one of our first questions is, what is the goal? When we then design our instructional methods. So our goal for today is to enhance understanding. And when we want to incorporate universal design for learning strategies to help our students, we want to be proactive, intentional, and embed choices. So we will be exploring some new tools that they may be new for many of you, but again, think in terms of proactively and intentionally considering the use of these tools. As always, our hope is that our students gain independence because of the instructional methods that we have considered. So, what does the research say? Dan Willingham, he's a cognitive scientist out of North Carolina, I think it is, and he's done a lot of research in this area and a review of the research. And some of the things that he has written about, he talks about how teaching reading strategies based on a summary of the research before grade 4 is ineffective because we really need to build reading fluency. And he also talks about the reading strategy programs that are short, around 6 sessions, were found to be essentially as effective as the longer programs that include 50 or more sessions. So he recommends that reading comprehension instruction should be explicit and brief. Don't extend it any longer than it really needs to be. Be concise, be explicit, just charge right in there and understand that the reading strategies will help students get that short-term boost and take advantage of that fact. His most important point is that acquiring that broad vocabulary, a strong knowledge base, is really the most important thing we can do to enhance understanding and comprehension. So that's the most important key, is building that broad vocabulary, that really has the long-term benefits that we're hoping for when we want to enhance understanding and reading comprehension. So just to reinforce that, the more students know, the broader the range of text they can comprehend. So give them a strong foundation. And another really important research finding is, and this is based on the work of Sarah Wood, she published this journal article in January of 2017. She did a meta-analysis to determine, does text-to-speech actually impact reading comprehension? And doing the meta-analysis research, she did find that it positively affects reading comprehension for individuals with reading disabilities. So again, when we talk about the value of text-to-speech and when people question the value, we can cite Sarah Wood's article. It was published in the Journal of Learning Disabilities in January of 2017. Another thing to consider in evaluating the research is the work of the Linda Bell group and what they say about visualizing and verbalizing. When we don't understand the gestalt, when we're missing out on the weak concept imagery, when we are unable to visualize, that leads to difficulties with comprehension as well. So understanding that, we also want to understand the role of the reader. What do they bring to the reading situation? What characteristics and traits do they need to have in place to be good comprehenders? So clearly, they have to be able to attend and focus. They have to be engaged and motivated in the content. They need to be interested in it. They need to have a vocabulary and a background knowledge foundation. They need to be able to draw on their own experiences. And importantly, and often overlooked, is the role of working memory. Holding on to all of the information that they're reading and holding on and simultaneously being able to manipulate it and to visualize what is essentially happening. So let's talk about the reluctant reader. Any of you work with students who are reluctant readers or who have learned to not enjoy reading? We know what happens. We know that it leads to gaps in their vocabulary. It leads to gaps in background knowledge. It just leads to gaps, and they grow greater and greater over time. I'll never forget a student that I evaluated back when he was in 5th grade. And I had worked with him back when he was in 3rd grade, so they called me in to reassess his abilities. And he was working at his instructional level and his independent level and not being stretched. So they were just really confining his reading intervention to his independent and instructional level. What happened then in 5th grade when we reviewed his test scores, the gaps in vocabulary had greatly increased. And so that, to me, speaks to the importance of bypassing those challenges and really working into the promoting and providing him with text-to-speech, which we will talk about in a second. So keep in mind, when we are not exposing students to a rich library of books, then and are not encouraging them to really explore new areas of interest, we are leading them down a path that causes greater gaps in vocabulary and background knowledge, and it works to their huge disadvantage. One of the things that Stephen Krashen and Kelly Gallagher talk about, they've both written a book. Kelly Gallagher has written the book called Read Aside, What Schools Are Doing and How Schools Are Killing Reading and What We Can Do About It. It's called Read Aside by Kelly Gallagher, How Schools Are Killing Reading and What We Can Do About It. Highly recommend it. And Stephen Krashen, a professor emeritus out at Stanford, has written a book called The Power of Reading. And they both talk about how invaluable it is that we expose students to a rich library of books in their classrooms and that we model sustained reading ourselves. Many times teachers will have what we call DEAR time, drop everything and read, or some schools call it SSR, sustained silent reading. They talk about the importance of teachers modeling reading during those periods and modeling that love of reading. Sometimes teachers are doing correcting work and things like that, and they say that's not what we want to do. We really want to model a love of reading for our students. So let's think about a minute when Daniel Willingham talks about the importance of brief reading comprehension strategy instruction. One of the tools that we can use is this website called Into the Book. Is anyone familiar with that website? I can't see the chat, but I am interested. I am curious to know if anyone is aware of this website. So I will take you there for a minute, and we can sign in. So you can see it really is an educational website. It's for elementary students and teachers. You can go into the educators area, but I want you to see what is available for students. And I'm going to type in my name and do my OT0323. So I'm going to go in with my key, and here we go. So I want you to see what's available. If I scroll around, you can see that this is an interactive site that looks at questioning, visualizing, summarizing, inferring, making connections, synthesizing, prior knowledge, and evaluating. And if we go to the center, it brings all of the strategies together. So we could go into the visualizing, and it's a completely interactive website that can serve to provide some extension activities to help students understand.
Visualizing is like creating a movie in your
And
mind.
you can hear that, and it does have audio feedback, which is great. And you can watch the video. The students can try it for themselves. Every one of those reading comprehension strategies has an interactive tool just like this. So again, this can reinforce what you're teaching in the classroom in terms of the explicit strategy instruction. So that's one thing you may want to explore. Let me close that link and continue on. So we talked about, first of all, teaching the students the strategies. Now we want them into the book. We want them reading. So let's remove those obstacles. Sarah Wood's research has shown that using text-to-speech does enhance the development of reading comprehension. So this webinar is not looking at text-to-speech tools because there are other ones around that, but I do want to make sure that you are aware of many of the text-to-speech options that are freely available for our students. Because we want what we see here in the upper right-hand corner, we want children to be happy once they are in those books. So the Read and Write for Google Chrome extension is text-to-speech. CAPD does text-to-speech of articles. Dream Reader and CAPD both work with Bookshare, and they offer highlighting and a variety of different tools. I will assume most of you know them. The Reading Pen, I have to say, the C Pen Reader Pen has really improved the quality and accuracy of on-the-fly, immediate OCR and text-to-speech. It's really worth looking at. And then Kindle, if you buy on the Kindle Whisper Sync, it does offer text-to-speech. It does offer some audio tools as well. So always think in terms of making sure your students have access to the content at grade level independently. These tools allow that. Tomorrow I'll be attending an IEP meeting for a third grade student who is essentially a non-reader. And as a result, it's coming through that he has attentional and focusing issues, when in actuality the student is really, really struggling with decoding grade level text. He's really only at a pre-primary level. And so I'm strongly recommending the use of a variety of text-to-speech tools to help him access the content, which he can then better understand. So one of the ones that was mentioned that somebody is already using is Reading Comprehension Booster. It is an iOS app. It's $3.99. When you open it up, it allows you to take a picture of the cover of the book, and then you can open it up, and what you get are all of these different areas to explore. Characters, story sequence, big ideas, predictions, connections, story seeds, and then make your own. If you click on the characters link, what it opens up to is the ability to draw your character, bring in a character, and then type their features, their attributes. And it gives you, you would click on these links, and it will give you a list of characteristics. Some students need that kind of linear support to help them then better visualize and understand what they're reading. One of the things, too, the reason why I love this as a UDL tool is you can type information about the character, you can draw information, you can record voice, which to me is such an important UDL quality, the ability to bypass all those challenges of output and just do oral recordings. And then you can also bring in pictures. So this can help you when you bring in the pictures, when you describe the characters, that can then help you to better understand. It also has a prediction tool, which is very cool. A lot of students really like this. So based on the cover, based on the back cover, whatever it is, students can then make predictions and then come back and evaluate their predictions. Again, you can have multiple students recording their voice making that prediction. If we go back here, if you look at the setting and you explore the setting areas, it really does help you. It has a lot of symbol and picture support for when, where, and what weather was. So it helps students who have difficulty with visualizing and developing that gestalt in their mind of imagery. This really does help them. It has a story sequence. It makes connections to self. You can do big ideas. So again, a really inexpensive way to engage students in an innovative manner around helping them better understand what they're reading and better visualizing it using a very linear approach. It's an awesome, definitely worth exploring. So once we are starting to explore those areas, we definitely want to think about building background knowledge. So how do we do that? No better way than looking at videos. YouTube videos, there's a YouTube video for everything. Having students watch videos, having them create their own videos, is such a valuable way to build background knowledge depending on what it is you are about to read. Another way that you can build background knowledge is to use tools like readworks.org for reading passages and Common Lit. So I'm going to take a minute to explore readworks.org with you. Is anyone using ReadWorks already? I hope so. I think that I have found that seems to be a popular tool that teachers are using. So I'm logged in already. And I'm going in as an educator. So what's really cool about this website is it has passages for all different Lexile levels, grade levels. It also does human voiced audio, and it also does something called step reads, which if you're familiar with Newsella, it automatically adjusts the Lexile level. This one does as well, and they call them step reads. So if we want to pull up, we can pull up, so we've got Abraham Lincoln. We've got President's Day next week. So let's look up an article about Abraham Lincoln. And so here's one. They say it's ready for the first grade, but here, I'll pull up this one, U.S. Presidents, fourth grade. So students do not have to struggle with decoding the article. There is, you can see right here, it has human narration of the article itself. And I actually turned off.
Abraham Lincoln was America's 16th
So I'm going
president.
to just pause
He is
that.
considered to be
So it's high quality human narration. So this Lexile level, they're saying it's 770, and that words, it's fourth grade level, words are 448. Now, if we need to simplify that, but have all students read the same basic article, we can go to this area called Step Reads. And Step Reads 1 is a little easier than the main article, and you can see the Lexile level is adjusted as well as the number of words. We can also check out Step Reads 2, which even takes the Lexile level even lower. So again, it's building in that scaffolded support that our students need. It still exposes them to the vocabulary and the content, but independently with scaffolded support. So there's a lot of really wonderful things, wonderful background knowledge that can be shared through assigning articles to particular students and pairing it with whatever content areas you are exploring. So that's ReadWorks. I want to also have you take a look at Common Lit. So we'll check out Common Lit. And Common Lit used to just be fiction and nonfiction text for 5th through 12th grade. They actually just recently, within the past month, added in 3rd and 4th grade as well. Actually, let me go back for a second because I want you to see some of these features. You can choose a lesson, you can assign it with your students, and then you can also track your students' progress. You can analyze how they're doing. So it's being used all over the country, and they have said that they will always ensure that it is free. So we'll log in. One of the differences between this and ReadWork is Common Lit doesn't have human narration, but it does have, we could browse the library, it does have text-to-speech built in. And the same thing with ReadWorks, you could always open up the purple puzzle piece Read and Write for Google Chrome extension and listen to articles. So we could here, we'll look at this article. And it has taken the tour. We can increase the font size. This is the largest. We can assign this. Here are the text-to-speech tools. And they have some highlighting tools. They have high-quality text-to-speech. They have guided reading mode, which again can help you students better understand as they are reading. It has an assessment, and it also does, when you initially assign it, it does have lifestyle levels as well. And the other thing too that's kind of nice, so we assign we assign books to our students. With this particular tool, the Common Lit, it allows us to pair text. So they will look at, they call them book pairings. So if I look at book pairings, so they've got 86 book pairings. So for example, if you're reading The Book Thief, they have done the work for you. This can help our students build their background knowledge. Who's Adolf Hitler? So this is, they tell you, introduce this informational text before students begin reading The Book Thief. Then they have some other passages. So read this passage, have students read this text after reading part 1 of the novel, and then they give you some guiding questions. So they do book pairings, they do the work for you, which again can help enhance your students' understanding of what they read. It's taking it to a whole new level and building their background knowledge and their vocabulary as well. So really some very cool things in both Common Lit and ReadWorks if you aren't already using those tools. Okay, so we'll continue on. Any questions so far? Okay. Oh, good. Let's stop before we move on. Okay. It is a free website. Yes. It's been available. Okay.
We do have some questions. Karen, hear me?
Using Into the Book, you're only logging in with your first name.
We had a
There's
couple
no
questions
other
about the
identifiable
website.
information about
Is that
you.
a free website?
And the other thing too is you could continue. Every time you go in, you could log in for the very first time with your first name. There's nothing that's identifiable about you with using Into the Book.
Website?
Any other questions? Oh. So these how to build vocabulary. Well, again, when you are sharing information and making using text to speech to help students bypass their decoding challenges.
And then
The
somebody
read and
asked a
the
question towards the
text-to-speech
beginning
tools, some of
about
them
how
have
to build student vocabulary.
vocab tools built in. But actually, this is a good time to take a little detour. One of our options, if I open up a Google Doc or an article, here I'll just open up my Read and Write for Google Chrome extension. One of the really great tools to help build vocabulary, and I guess let me just be open to a website. Here, I'll just open up my Google Doc. And this is one that I use often, so I'll scroll down. So I hope people are familiar with the Read and Write for Google Chrome extension. I'm just waiting for it to open up. It's doing the blue spin. There is a vocab list tool in the Read and Write for Google Chrome extension. Sorry, it's really taking some time to load in. And here it is. So if I click on this, and again, this works in Google Docs, it works online on any article. But one of the things for example, I can click on the word golf and open up my dictionary, and there's the definition. And because I have this clue here, I can now listen to that definition read back to me.
A game played over a large open
with dual color highlighting. Another thing that I can do because of the Read and Write for Google Chrome extension is I also get a picture dictionary. So here, that's built right into the premium version of Read and Write for Google, which is free for all teachers. Finally, another thing I can do is combine the two of those. One of the tools that they have is called vocabulary, and it creates a vocab list. So what I want to do is I'll highlight particular words in different colors. So here's professional, here's product, maybe so, and then if I click on this tool called vocabulary, what it's doing is it's generating a new Google document, and it will have those words that I have highlighted with a dictionary definition and with symbol support, and it instantly creates a table. So that's a quick and easy way to help build vocabulary and help students to then customize. They can look at the definitions and determine which definition or they want to use, and depending on what the context is. So that's part of the Read and Write for Google Chrome extension, the premium version. You can learn more about that through the Text Help website. But that's one way to expand students' understanding of vocabulary. Continuing on. So there are two tools that help activate prior knowledge and help students make connections for engagement. One of them is called Shmoop. The other one is called Lit Charts. And one of the things that I love about Shmoop is that unfortunately has a ton of ads. That's unfortunately. You can pay for it, but I'm all about free. Don't we love free? I'm the queen of free. So one of the things it does do is at the top is it has, in a nutshell, a quick just introduction to the story, to the novel. And it also oftentimes has a video, but this one takes a really long time, so I'm not going to wait for it to open up. But so in a nutshell, it does a very quick, brief summary. But then if you scroll down, I love this part. Why should I care? How many times have we assigned books to students, especially, sorry if there are any Shakespeare lovers out there, but Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, Othello, some of those classic, A Tale of Two Cities. Why should I care? What's really nice about this particular website is it helps kids make connections to the text and helps them to understand. And it's in very kid-friendly language. Like if I scroll in, you'll see this actually says WTF. Well, that's going to grab a kid's attention, right? but it's not what you think. It's called Why Is This Funny? So again, it's very kid-friendly language. It tries to help students make connections even before they are introduced to the content. If we go over here on the left side, it does a summary of every chapter. It does the themes, it does quotes, it does a character, it does a character breakdown. I was just working with some students today and they're reading To Kill a Mockingbird, and they've read the first 3 chapters, but to kind of better understand who the characters are, because they were kind of missing the points, we actually use the other link, which I'll show you, but it does something very similar. So who are the characters? It does an analysis, it does a quiz, helps even students write an essay about it. So this is a free option. My suggestion to you is they do have hundreds of books. They have all Shakespeare, but they have hundreds of common fiction and commonly assigned middle school and high school texts. When you go to the Shmoop website, Google Shmoop and the title of the book. Otherwise, it can take you a very long time to find what you are searching for. So what I did when I searched for The Giver, I did Shmoop and The Giver, and it takes me right to this. So if we look at lit charts, so I'm going to take us to lit charts. It does something very similar. It doesn't have all of the ads that Shmoop has. So it does an introduction, it does a plot summary, it does a detailed summary and analysis chapter by chapter, it looks at the themes. This is the site we went to. So we looked at who are the characters, who are the main characters. We were looking at, he was reading To Kill a Mockingbird, so we looked at that. You can read the full character analysis. One of the things that teachers really like about this website is it has something called a theme wheel. So they describe the themes in the book here and they color code them. If you go to the theme wheel, here are your theme colors. What it does is it goes by chapter and it shows you what themes were occurring in that particular chapter. I've shown this to many teachers and they are like blown away that this is possible. So here you can zoom in on it and you can get a better understanding down here of the chapter 8, what's going on, what the theme is. So you can click on different links and it takes you right to a better understanding. So themes are often an area or a part of the book that is very difficult for kids to understand. So if we give them tools like this can help them bypass their struggles with understanding the theme of totalitarianism. And so here it is, helps them to better understand. I did talk to an English teacher once. There are many English teachers who share these websites, but I did talk to an English teacher once who said, yeah, but if I show them those links, then they won't even bother reading it. And I said, well, were they reading it anyway? This way now they can at least engage in the conversations that you're having in the classroom. They can participate. If they're just overwhelmed and not reading the book at all, then they're just sitting back not getting anything out of it. The other thing too is you can use these websites as learning tools. Do we agree with what they've added on the Shmoop website? Do we agree with the most important points that they've summarized? Because that can again be used as an extension activity. Do we want to rewrite the Shmoop website? Do we want to rewrite their chapter 2 summary? We can do all of that when we have something like this to use. So Lit Charts is free and has a paid version you can upgrade, but all of these features that I showed you, they are all free. It's all free, that's part of it. But when you upgrade, what it allows you is you can download PDFs of the information. With Shmoop, they have a premium version gets rid of the ads and gives you a few more features. But use what's free. Think about how you're extending your students' learning by using these kinds of tools. Okay, now I want to move to another type of tool, insert learning and actively learn. So what are we currently doing when we are assessing for understanding? Oh, we'll often assign an article or assign a chapter to a student to read. Then when we're done, or then when we come back the next day, we'll talk about it in class. I think about my son who has dyslexia. He would read the assigned summer books, and then the first day when they returned to school, they were given a test to determine did the student in fact read the book, and it was all factual information. And he said, why should I even bother reading them? I don't remember that kind of information. If he had been able to talk about what he read and the most important points that resonated with him, he might have felt more excited about doing the assigned summer reading. Our students have a hard time, especially with working memory issues, holding on to that information to then share what they've learned, share what they know, show that they're understanding the content. So this really awesome tool called Insert Learning is a Chrome extension. What's really great about it, it was developed by a high school and a middle school teacher, and they are still both teaching. It syncs with Google Classroom, and I want to show you a couple of the features. So it's right here. Actually, what I need to do is I am going to open up here we'll open up this article that I just closed about this particular theme. So here's the theme, and this is not a lengthy article, but I just want you to understand the point. Actually, we could do a plot summary that's a little bit longer. So here's the plot summary, so it's a little bit lengthier. So when I use the Insert Learning Chrome extension, which I have installed right here, when I click on it, it opens up a toolbar on the left side of my screen. What I can do now is I can insert a discussion or insert a question. So maybe after this particular, even the very first paragraph, instead of students having to hold on to that, what they've just read, because we oftentimes will have them read the whole article and then say, find the evidence in what you've read. Now what we can do is stop them, embed the question right here, and ensure that they are understanding what they're reading. So we can create any type of question, but because they are teachers, they want to save teachers time. So one of the options, if you go here under Help and Support, they have a lot of ideas. You can see what other teachers are doing. But if you go to this quick lesson ideas and templates, if I click on it, this is really cool. So they've added text-dependent questions, 10 ungoogleable text-dependent questions. If I click on it, so here, these are not yes, no. These are, so for example, we'll select this one. I'll highlight it, copy it, and I will close out of this and put my question right there. And now I'm going to hit create. So then the students will see this because it syncs with Google Classroom. We can assign it. We can add multiple questions throughout the article to promote students' understanding, to stop them, to help them assess, am I understanding what I'm reading? Because good comprehenders are always evaluating what they are reading, and they're self-checking their own understanding. They'll go back. But many of our students who are struggling in this area don't know, their executive function metacognitive strategies aren't in place for them to then know that is the best way to self-check for understanding. The thing that I want you to see about this too is they have something called Insert a Sticky Note. So if I click on that and I click on this particular paragraph, so here I can, and oftentimes I recommend doing this at the beginning of the article because you can embed YouTube videos for background knowledge, embed codes. But the thing that I love about this is it has this tool right here where if we click on it, now it allows us to either embed an authentic question or have our students respond to us authentically. So we can record our instruction or they can record their responses. which is a really cool feature because some students will struggle with written output, and the ability to input video in the article can be really freeing for them. What do you think about that? Is it just me that's super excited about this? I've actually been in touch with the developer, and I said, can you please add that video commenting capability to the questions as well as the discussions. Now, the free part of this, yes, yes. So, great question. So here, the top choice allows you to assign it, so you can click Assign. So here you can create, share it at your Google Classroom, you can create a new class. So that's one way if you've
Karen,
already got your classes set up. If I go here to More
sorry, we
Options,
have a question
here's
about
where
the
I
instant
can
learning.
go
How
to
do
my
you share the
dashboard,
document with the
or
questions
I can assign it
embedded?
here. So one of the things
Or is
that I
that
want you to
possible?
know is this is free, but you can only store 5 lessons at a time. So I'm going to delete this one because I show this tool all the time and I don't want it to come up. So now I've got 4, and I can still add 1 more. So here's where I can assign my lessons, I can grade, I can check my classes. If you are really excited about this tool, because again it is developed by teachers, and you want to assign more than 5 articles at a time, it does cost $40 for a yearly subscription. So this is where you would assign it. And again, easy to do. And they want you to, here I'll delete this one as well. They want you to be successful. So the first time when you go to the website, it'll even say try it free, try it now, right on their website so you can get a sense of it. They've also been adding some examples so you can see how other teachers are using it, and you can get ideas from them because again, they are teachers, they know what teachers need and want. So here you can see so here's one, an insert learning that someone else already created about Romeo and Juliet. So you can see what other people have done. So what do you think? Is that another way to help ensure that students are understanding what they're reading? That it's an opportunity to implement active reading strategies as they are reading. So insert learning is one option. Let me show you another option that's called Actively Learn. So this is the dashboard for Actively Learn. And I'm going to go, I want to, whoops, I didn't. Let me just go there, Actively Learn. And I will log in. And again, this is another tool that links with Google Classroom. Because again, we don't want to give teachers more work to do. We want them to, many schools now are using Google Classroom, thank goodness. So the fact that you can easily integrate with both Insert Learning and Actively Learn is wonderful for teachers. Okay, so here's my dashboard. One of the things that we can do is add content. So we can go to their catalog. And I want you to see this. They keep adding new articles. Again, fiction and nonfiction articles. They have 5,300 and growing articles. You can also rent books and things as well. They have it divided up by grade level as well. So we can add a new article. So let's say we want to add novels with pre-created. So I want 3 articles, so I'm going to put that filter in place. And so kids miss their parents reading to them. Let's check that one out. So again, we can preview it, get a sense of is this an article that we want to add to our workspace. We can add as many articles to our workspace from their catalog as we want to. So here's the article. So somebody else has already embedded the questions and embedded the points. So here you can see this. What they've highlighted The comment is, here the reporter introduces scientific evidence from a radio interview to explain some of the benefits of parents and children reading together. So again, it's just drawing students' attention to different things. Here's pediatrics, so that the teacher has even defined what pediatrics is. You can do all of that. There's comments and notes on the side, and then here is an embedded question, a few of them in fact. So you can embed them throughout the article. So you can choose to use this article or not. I just want to give you an idea. Now they also, what's really nice is every article can be customized. So we can add more white space. Research shows that for some students who struggle with decoding and reading fluency, that adding the white space can make a difference. We can also change the text size. We have 3 different font choices. Some of our kids who are dyslexic do like the open dyslexic font. Some of them say absolutely not. So again, show your students the choices and help them to use the font that works the best for them. So we'll close out of that. We can change our colors, whatever. So I'm not going to add that one to the workspace, but I could. Now instead I'm going to go back to my workspace and open up this. So the most dangerous game. So again, what we can do, add directions for students, add a pre-reading question. Here's the short story, the most dangerous game. So this is something that somebody else has created. What does the information reveal in this paragraph? So again, to add a question, and I'll show you how to do that. Very easy. We highlight the text, and now it'll say insert question, insert a note, insert a link, or even white it out. So again, this can be scaffolded support. Let's say you're assigning all of your students an article about the rainforest, and you've got students at different reading levels and different cognitive levels. So one of the options that's really cool about Actively Learn is it allows you to white out content, and your students don't realize that they are reading something different from their peers. But again, you've provided the scaffolded support that they need. If you want to bring it back, you just restore it. So again, you could assign it different articles to different students, the same article to different students with different scaffolds built in. So again, you're embedding the questions throughout the article instead of requiring your students to hold on to the information that they're reading and actively manipulate it. They no longer have to do that. So you're bypassing any working memory and processing speed issues. Now in the student view, it does also offer text-to-speech. And so again, this allows you, like one of my options is assign. So again, I can select what I want to assign, and it takes me step by step through the process. I can assign to my classes, and I can also upload right here. I'll hit cancel. When I see here, add classes, this is where import classes from Google Classroom is possible. And again, they want you to be successful with this tool. So they have some instructional tutorials, and it takes you step by step. Now this tool is free. It's also very expensive. So the part that's free is you can add any of their articles that are free to your workspace from their catalog. But if you want to import your own articles, you can import 3 a month. Now there are 12 months in a year, so that's 36 articles, and once you have them there, you'll see I have many, many articles. Once you've uploaded them and added them from online, they will always be available to you. So really cool tool to help bypass. I'm sorry? Yes. Yes. So again, it's using the dyslexic font, it's changing the spacing. Again, to me, just because it says it has that setting doesn't mean that is what a student will prefer to use. Show them the customization and allow them to customize it for themselves. And some students won't care, but others, they need to change the visual settings and the visual presentation to customize it for what works best for them. So this is the reason why I feel so strongly about these two particular tools, because they activate prior knowledge, they help build background knowledge, because you can build in some pre-reading questions. You can link to YouTube videos. You can embed articles that they can read ahead of time. So you're using active reading strategies. This is the big thing. You're bypassing those working memory issues. You're providing that scaffolded support, and hopefully you're building engagement. So the final tool, probably everyone has heard of Kahoot. I hope you all will look at quizzes as an alternative to Kahoot. And the reason why I recommend quizzes, you know how when you use Kahoot as a tool for whole class checking for understanding, the students have to look at what you've projected on the board to then know where to tap on the device that they're using. With quizzes, they will see on their own screen the 4 possible choices. The other thing that's really great about Kahoot is it offers text-to-speech for the questions and the answers. Many of our students need that kind of support. So I know we're just about running out of time, and I want to leave a couple of minutes for questions, but I want you to think about, many of our teachers feel like, oh my goodness, you're adding even more to my plate. I'm already overwhelmed. So I really hope that you don't think this is in addition to what you're already doing, but just replace something that is less effective. Think about reflect on all the students in your classroom. Are their needs being met by the tools that you are currently using? So replace something that is less effective with one of these tools. So thank you for this. Again, if we go back to the beginning, I hope that you were excited about at least one new tool, and I would love for you, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, I would love for you to put it in the chat box, what one new thing you can't wait to explore further and try with your students. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but I do thank you all. And so I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, here we go. Yeah, definitely. Quizzes is better for those with visual processing disorders. Absolutely. Can you use Read and Write? Yeah, somebody asked, so Read and Write will work with any of these tools. But what's nice is that Actively Learn does have the text-to-speech built in, so that you don't necessarily have to open up the Read and Write for Google tool. Oh, good. Somebody's excited to try Schmoop. Let's see what people are excited. Oh, somebody's excited to try ReadWork, Into the Book. Oh, good. Yeah, Jennifer, I'm all about free. But you can pay for the premium features, and especially that one that's developed by the teachers, Insert Learning. It's only $40 for the year. And anyone else? Oh, good. So Jennifer wants to definitely check quizzes, Into the Book, Schmoop, and Lit Charts. Whoa, you're a high achiever. Oh, good. Somebody said Google Vocab Builder, the vocabulary list. That's great. So did you learn at least one new thing, I hope? So Abby, definitely Reading Comprehension Booster. The Actively Learn does work, because it's a website, it does work on the iPad. The Padlet has apps as well, has an iPad app. Quizzes works on iPads. Those are, just because when they're websites, they can still be used on iPads. When I think about reading comprehension, so I would think about that, but I would definitely, depending on what grade you're working with, Abby, definitely look into Reading Comprehension Booster. Jennifer, that's great. Definitely share with your colleagues, because once we start sharing this information with the gen ed teachers, what they will do, we'll get fewer referrals for those assistive technology consultations and evaluations because what they're doing is they're building in UDL and scaffolded supports for all students. So any questions before we end? Oh, look at this, right on time. Any final questions or thoughts? So the SurveyMonkey link should be projected right now. I'm seeing it. Oh, thank you, Anna Maria. Any thoughts? Well, thank you all. I can't thank you enough for being part of this, for participating, and I hope that the rest of the week is great for you. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. I hope it's a fun day for many of you. Good things could potentially be happening. Thank you all. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Thanks, Anna Maria. This was really fun. I hope people got some new ideas out of it.
Karen, that was a great webinar. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yes, they did. Absolutely. So we'll get the recording
All right.
posted probably tomorrow, and we'll send out the link with the PowerPoint and
Oh, one more thing, actually. Let me
any
just post my
list
email
of
address
links
in
that you
case
guys can
anyone does
reference.
have some
And
follow-up
thanks for joining
questions.
us.
And it is also